Today I'm going to talk about Killer by Alice Cooper. This is an interesting album for me because I discovered it many years after becoming a fan of Alice Cooper. I only knew one song, which I'll explain in a minute. I discovered Alice Cooper with this album, Love It to Death. It was just something I just happened to grab at a record store. It was in the late 80s. They had just released the Trash album and I just was flipping through. And then I went back and I bought like a bunch of other albums, which was mostly this one, $1 Billion Babies, and then I bought this one and probably a few others. So that's what I was listening to back then. But this particular album, which is Killer, and I'll show you my vinyl, which actually looks different in a minute, I discovered this one much later. Now, I did know one song, which was called Under My Wheels. It was on this album, The Decline of the Western Civilization Part 2 soundtrack. It has Axl Rose and Slash, so I knew that song. But I've only been listening to this album here for only a few years, but it is one of my favorites. And I usually go back and forth between this one and Love to Death, but I'll discuss that more like later on. So some details about the album. It came out November 27, 1971, the fourth studio album by the Alice Cooper Band. By this point, they already started to make waves with their previous record, Love to Death, but Killer was where they really began to build a blueprint for shock rock. This album reached number 21 on the Billboard 200 and eventually went platinum in the US. It had a few cult classic singles like Under My Wheels and Be My Lover, and also contained deep cuts like Halo of Flies and Dead Babies, and that really showed off the band's ambition. The album was produced by Bob Ezrin. Killer had that perfect mix of raw garage rock energy and studio polish. It gave it a timeless feel. In this video, I'll be talking about all of it, the lineup, the sound, how Killer became so influential, and of course, a track-by-track breakdown, including one song dedicated to Jim Morris. I'll show you my vinyl copy. You're probably wondering about that censored sticker I put on the thumbnail. I didn't want to take any chances. I know YouTube gets a little picky when you're putting these types of images on your thumbnails. But here's the vinyl. I'll show you a couple close-ups as well. I bought this at a Mexico City street fair, and once I saw the cover, I'm like, I gotta grab this. Even though I already had it on CD, I need this version on vinyl. So it says Asesino, it's in Spanish, and it has Alice with his head in a noose. I guess this image might have been too graphic for the American market, but I don't know. I like covers. I mean, I like the snake, but I mean, this one is really pretty graphic. But then on the back, it's the same picture as it is on the album. I think it's just a different filter, but I mean, it pretty much looks the same. And I guess this is what the original vinyl looks like anyway. And then you can see in the corner titles in English and Spanish. And then the black vinyl, which I'll show you right here in the image, it has the standard Warner Brothers sticker with song titles in English and Spanish. But let's move on. I'll talk more about the Alice Cooper Band, something I don't really do much on this channel. This is an Alice Cooper album when the band was still together, so I'm going to go through the people in the band. So obviously Alice Cooper, he really needs no introduction, but he's the frontman of the band. He helped create the band's image and stage presence and was the star of the stage. But we have Glenn Buxton on lead guitar. Glenn's raw and sometimes unpolished style was part of the band's sound. He wasn't trying to be a virtuoso. He played with a lot of grit and attitude, and he really gave the songs their edge. And he's the only person in the band who's no longer with us. He passed away in 1997. Then there's Michael Bruce. He is the rhythm guitar and keyboards. Michael was a key songwriter for the band, and he provided a solid rhythmic foundation and kept the music grounded. He also added textures on keyboards, and that gave some of the songs more of that atmosphere. We have Dennis Dunaway on bass. Dennis's bass playing was melodic, inventive, and often pushed the songs in unexpected directions. He also co-wrote some of the song's biggest moments. And we have Neil Smith on drums. Neil's drumming was tight and theatrical, lots of dramatic fills and sense of showmanship that fits perfectly with the band's stage presence. This lineup was the original Alice Cooper Band, the one I worked together, and was a true unit before Alice went solo. But Killer, this album, is them at their peak. What's really special about Killer is how much influence it had on rock and metal in the years after its release. First, the stage show that accompanied Killer was groundbreaking. The band didn't just play songs, they acted them out. The Killer tour featured elaborate props, horror-themed theatrics, and even mock executions. This inspired a whole generation of artists who went to see concerts not just for the music. Without killer stage production, you might not have gotten the over-the-top live shows of bands like Kiss, Wasp, Marilyn Manson, or Rob Zombie. Second, the music itself pushed boundaries. A song like Halo of Flies wasn't common in hard rock at the time. It was nearly 9 minutes long, full of tempo changes, and it told a spy thriller story through the lyrics. It was ambitious in a way that helped pave the way for progressive elements in heavy rock. Third, Killer showed that rock music could embrace taboo topics without losing its sense of fun. For example, Dead Babies was incredibly controversial for its subject matter, but instead of shying away, the band leaned in, using shock value to make a point. It opened the door for other artists to tackle darker, more theatrical themes. Finally, the combination of raw garage rock with Bob Ezrin's polished production created a sound that many glam and hard rock acts would later try to replicate. You can hear Killer's influence in bands from the 70s all the way to modern rock acts who embrace theatrics and a sense of danger. Let's go through the songs one by one. The album kicks off with a bang. Under My Wheels is a fast, catchy, full of attitude. The horn section gives it extra punch, and Alice's vocals are full of swagger. The song that's become a live staple for decades, it perfectly captures the energy of the early 70s hard rock scene. Next up is Be My Lover, which has a great riff and some of Alice's most autobiographical lyrics. It even pokes fun at the band's old image with a line about someone asking if Alice's name is actually Alice. It got that Rolling Stones type of groove and humor, marking it as one of the most charming songs on the album. But this next song is a really good one. It's where they really stretch out. The song is almost 9 minutes long. It's called Halo of Flies. It's ambitious, it's complex, has multiple sections, a spy story. The song is an unforgettable experience. The instrumental passages are tight, the bass lines are killer, no pun intended, and the drumming keeps the whole thing moving. From 1971, this was way ahead of its time in terms of structure and ambition. I'll also say it is probably my favorite Alice Cooper song of all time, from both the band and solo albums, and I'm talking all 30 albums. This is my favorite song. Then we have Desperado. It slows things down. There's more of a cinematic feel. This is the song that's dedicated to Jim Morrison, as I was talking about before. It's dark, moody. It has an Old West outlaw atmosphere, and Alice's vocal delivery is excellent. It's a little bit of that crooning, also storytelling, but also part of his Madman. So it's one of the most underrated songs in their catalog. We're back to the high energy with You Drive Me Nervous. This is a straight up rocker with a garage band feel. It's fast, raw, and perfect for a live performance. The band sounds completely locked in here, and it's one of those songs that captures their early grit. This one has a loose, fun vibe. It's not the deepest song on the album, but it's got a great groove and a bit of a Stones influence. It works as a palate cleanser before the darker material that closes the record. Here's why the album gets really infamous. Dead Babies was shocking in 1971 and still gets talked about today. While the title alone causes outrage, the song is actually a form of social commentary about parental neglect and abuse. Musically, it's eerie and unsettling with an arrangement that builds tension perfectly. The closing title track is pure drama. It starts slow and ominous, building up to an intense ending that works as a perfect live showpiece. The song's theatrical nature would become a blueprint for future Alice Cooper finales. This album is a landmark in the evolution of theatrical rock. It showed that hard rock could be both fun and dangerous, both musically ambitious and commercially appealing. It's one of those rare albums where every member of the band is in top form, and the songwriting is both tight and adventurous. From the catchy rockers like Under My Wheels to the sprawling ambition of Halo of Flies and the shocking Dead Babies, there's a balance here that very few albums achieve. If you want to see where Killer fits in my ranking of the first 5 Alice Cooper albums, check out this video I have here, linked at the end of this one. Please like this video if you enjoyed it. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I will see you in the next one.